Without an audience, you don't exist. You know, a lot of startup founders think that the first thing that they need to do is build a product, right? I mean, usually what ends up happening is that they seem to have a problem. And I talked to you about the PopSocket story a while back, but it's pretty similar to most of what entrepreneurs go through, what startup founders go through, is that they come across a problem. A personal problem falls into their lap. And they think to themselves, well, you know what? I can solve this problem. They figure it out for themselves. And then they say to themselves, well, there's somebody, maybe that, I've had this problem for a long time. I've solved this problem. Maybe there's other people that are just like me out there who need this problem solved as well. So they go and solve the problem and promote the problem that they're solving. Now here's the problem. That's where most startup entrepreneurs begin. They begin with the problem, they begin with the solution, and they begin with the product. They start off by building something for themselves and maybe for a few people that they know. They don't start off by building an audience. And today, in this day and age, in the world of 2023, especially if you're building applications and SaaS software, maybe not so much with hardware, but it's the same for hardware, it's the same for physical objects, physical devices, physical things in general, that if you don't have an audience, that is the most important thing that you need to have as a startup founder. You don't need to have a product. You don't need to even have a product. So we have gone from the old ways of doing things, where somebody needed to have a problem, solve the problem, and build a product to solve the problem. That's not the way to do it anymore. The way to do it anymore is to conceptualize the problem, conceptualize the solution to the problem, seek demand for the solution. Go put it out there. See if people are interested in buying this thing before you even write one stick of code. Build your audience first before you build the product. Nowadays we can do this sort of thing. Now it's a little more difficult when it comes to things like medical devices and things that require a long lead time. But the reality is that in this day and age, because there is so much noise, because there's so much clamor, because there's so many people shouting and banging pots and pans and yelling at each other and sending cold emails and doing TikTok videos and Instagram and Discord and all this noise out there, because there's so much noise out there, that if you don't have a ready-made audience to present your product to, then you may as well be invisible. You may as well have not built a product at all. So I think that those days are gone. The days of not having an audience and being successful are gone. So in today's world, you need to build an audience first. Forget traction. Forget building a product. Forget anything but coming up with a solution, coming up with a product. So you still need a problem. You still need to have a problem. You still need to have a solution for the problem. But building the product, you can put that on the back burner until you have an audience ready to listen to you. Now, some people might say, that's terrible, Chris. That's terrible, because what if I put my idea out there and someone steals it? Because it's very possible. I mean, Amazon does it all the time. Lots of companies do these sort of things. They come up with an idea for a product, you get it out there, and somebody else might go, hey, that's a great idea. And somebody with a little more resource than yourself might be able to get it to market faster than you. But you still have the audience. That's the key. The key is the audience. If you have no audience, you're invisible. Nobody knows you. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows who your company is. Nobody knows who your product is, what your product is, and we'll never know. It's exceptionally difficult. In fact, it's more difficult today. I'm going to say this, and I'm not sure if it's true. Somebody else can correct me on it. Just make a note in the comments below or anywhere else. It's harder today to build an audience for your product than it is to build a product. So without an audience, you're invisible. With an audience, you have a fighting chance. So audience first, product second. If you want to complain and say this is not the way it is, then just pop me a note in the comments below. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.